Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Tammy Ozturk, the designer of badbobbin.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make the outfits for our welcome bear. Here's our welcome bear, and these are the outfits. This is one of them. This would be the birthday outfit, and I will show you how to make them. They Velcro on. There's also a snap option. If you don't want to use the Velcro, you can use cam snaps. That'll be part of the design. And it's just very simple that they just Velcro on and off. There's different materials that you can use. I'm going to show you the options. This happens to be done in vinyl. All my backs are done in felt. Same thing with the hat and the two balloons. And there'll be many different outfits that can be used for this welcome bear. And today we're going to do the birthday suit. So let's head on over to our cutting table and see what materials we need and what other options there are to make the birthday suit for our welcome bear. See at the cutting table? All right, and here we are with the things that we're going to need. I printed out through my, I also did include a JPEG with these, with similar of these designs, and I wrote my little notes on here as to what size of material or fabric or felt. On this is the clothing that we're going to put on our bear. And this one happens to be the birthday suit. So I'm going to show you how to do the birthday suit. And this one, there's no satin stitch around it. It's going to be just a regular bean stitch around it. And you'll be cutting it. Makes things a lot easier. But there are a few appliques, and I will be showing you what those appliques are. And then there's also our markings for where we're going to add our Velcro. And we have our back, or the smooth sides. We did the loopy side on the bear, and we have our smooth side for his outfit. So we're going to do felt for the back, and I'm going to do vinyl for the front. And there's two versions for the top part, which is his hat and the balloons. I'm going to do the rough edge. Some may want to do the satin stitch around it. It's up to you. We're going to do the raw edge with the bean stitch as well for the balloon and his hat. So we've got our vinyl, which is a 5.5 by 7, and this is done in a 5.5 by 7 hoop with a tearaway. And I've got my felt for the backing, my Velcro, and this is great for scrap busting. This is perfect. This is happened to be a scrap pack and little pieces and that I've kept. So it's like the ball up here. I'm going to use the gold for it. I'm going to use this red for his hat part. I'm going to use these little scraps that I've got of a rainbow for the balloons. You can do them any color you want. You can use curly ribbon, you can use yarn, you can use ribbon to have his little parts hanging off the balloons. I happen to have curly ribbon, so if you do use a curly ribbon, you need about 7 inches so that once it curls, it'll be about the size that you want. So I've got 2 different curly ribbons. If you use just like regular yarn or regular ribbon just to hang down it, then you only need a couple inches, like 2.5, 3 inches coming down. And more scrap pieces. So this is going to be for the bow on his shirt. And then I'm going to use, because I'm doing blue, I figured I'd make his pockets and scrap pieces exactly. These just fit perfect. So they've got 2 scrap pieces for the pockets in this glittery blue for his pockets, and then the little present in here. So I just have a scrap piece, and I just need a little 1 3/8 by 1 3/8 piece for this present here. So perfect for scrap busting. If you have a little bit larger pieces, this will work great. So I'll have all my pieces ready for his outfit with his bow tie, which I'm going to do in the yellow, I said. So I'm going to be changing the colors of my threads to go with whatever color I'm using. And then we've got the hat and the balloons that we're all ready to do. And we're going to take all this over to the machine. And it's done in 2 hoopings. Or sorry, I should say it's actually each one is done in 2 hoopings. So the first part we're going to do on this will be the back piece. This felt piece, we're going to prepare it and have it ready to go. And then we're going to hoop a second hoop and we'll do the vinyl part. So I'll show all that to you when we get to the machine. And we'll take all our pieces with us, and tearaway stabilizer and our Velcros, and we'll head on over to the machine. Make sure you have a good pair of small scissors to cut out your appliques. Some will be needing to be done while we're stitching. The other parts of the applique you can wait until afterwards and cut them once we get them out of the out of the hoop. And depending on the stiffness of your materials, depends on if you want to add that Pelletex or use an additional like 909 underneath, or float that 909 in between our vinyl pieces. So let's head on to the machine. All right, at the machine, and we're gonna stitch out a little outfit for our Welcome Bear. And I have the pattern that I printed out with my information on it, and we're going to do the vest, and then we're going to do the hat along with the little accent, which will be his balloons. So let's move this. So there will be 2 hoopings per part. For his jacket is 2 hoopings, and then for the balloon and the hat is also 2 hoopings. So for the first hooping is going to be the back piece, which is going to be the felt with the little Velcro pieces. So this will be our first hooping, which we're going to do. Set the rest aside. I have my pattern loaded into my machine, and our first thing is going to be our placement stitch. I'm actually doing the placement in white, so it's going to be hard to see, but I'll try my best to show it to you. Okay. So if the thread has come up, which is fine, at least it left our perforation, so I know where to make our placements. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this thread off here. And there. So. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and use a tacky spray, and I'm going to go ahead and tack my felt on top. Or you can tape it, up to you. I use tacky spray, that way it just keeps it tight onto my stabilizer, and it's not going to pull or slide. There we go. And the next thing it's going to do, it's going to sew out the little placement lines for our Velcro, or there will be the placement lines for the snaps. It's going to do the Velcro ones right now. All right, so it did both. Kind of hard to see, it's in white, I'm sorry. But you can kind of see it did our box here, and then it's also done 2 little dots, which is you can do either your snaps here, or we can place our Velcro. And I'm going to go ahead and place our Velcro in there. There we go, we can kind of see, there we go. You can see the placing. So these are the loopy, or the fuzzy side of our Velcro. And I'm going to center them evenly, and you're going to lift and make sure that they are, when you lift you want to make sure that they're centered. And I'm going to tape them. All right, and we're going to put it back in the machine and go ahead and do our tack down for our Velcro. Okay, it is all one pattern, but there are the stops in between. So this is our first hooping, and the pattern is still in the machine ready to go with the rest of it, so you don't have to load it in your machine twice or 2 different patterns. So this one is done, and this is the first, our first step to our little jacket. And this will be the back piece that we're going to put on later. So this is ready to go. We just need to pull it out of the hoop and set it aside until we're ready for the next thing. So I'll be right back with the new hoop. All right, we're back with our new hoop, and it's the rest of our jacket pieces and the pattern that I've done. And this is what we came out with on it, and we're going to go ahead and tear it out of the tear the stabilizer off of it. And you know, if you want to get rid of everything in it, you can always leave this little bit, but if you want to tear it out, you can tear it out. And this is our last piece that we're going to put to the back of what we're finishing. So just have it ready to go and keep it. I'm going to singe these threads and stuff so that they're all tucked in and nice. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and stitch out our placement lines. And this one is going to be the outline of the jacket where we need to place our vinyl. And it's going to be also placement lines for the snaps or the Velcro. And you'll see towards the end why we need those on our stabilizer stitched out. So let's start stitching. All right. I'm going to take my vinyl, and I went ahead and sprayed some tacky spray on it a little bit. And I'm going to center it over my placement. Smooth it down. And I always find the tacky spray is the best versus tape because it can still shift even though it's taped. It does pull, and with it tacky spray, it's actually kind of glued to your stabilizer, so it doesn't pull as much. Okay, the next thing was going to be the outline, tacking the little shirt down. Okay, then I'm going to have a placement for my little package. Okay, I'm going to cut the little threads. Check my backs as well. Got a little snafu there. Okie doke. And same thing, I'm going to tacky spray a little bit on the back of here. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And right where I actually put the little tacky spray, it's so tiny, I just happen to have a scrap piece. So I'm going to lay it on top. And we're going to go ahead and do a tack down stitch. And this is a pretty quick little project. It's kind of simple. It's with the 1000 stitch per minute machine. It's 16 minutes of the stitching. So most of it is just our placement and our cutting. So this one here, we're going to cut the outer of the box, and this is where we want to be careful and have even edges all around our stitching. So it's with the even amount left outside of our stitch, and that will complete our present or the box. And then we're going to end up putting a little gold, I'm going to use the metallic gold thread, but you can use any color you want on your package. You don't even have to use a green package. You can use any color for your package. So I'm going to cut this around, and then it's going to go ahead and put my gold. All right. So I just have my little 4-inch curved embroidery scissors. I'll grab my good ones. Those ones aren't as sharp. These are my brand new ones. And there's going to be a little, the gold is going to do a little zigzag around it. So we've cut it out. We put it back in the machine, and we are going to do our accent and our bow for the package, and that's going to be in a metallic gold. So I'm going to slow my machine down a little bit for the metallic. Okay, and we just ran the placements for the pockets. So I have little scrap pieces that I'm going to use, and let's see if we can see them. I used white, I'm sorry, but we have the little placement lines here. There we go, one there. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out where my little pocket piece, little scrap piece we'll use for that. And I'm going to use tacky spray again. One little tap of spray. There we go. And that kind of fits in there right that. And I'm going to go ahead and do a tack down stitch. Okay, and then it's going to do a, it's hard to see, but you can use a contrast color too if you want, but I used the blue to go over it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this now because I want to make sure this is cut before I do my outer and all that. So I'm going to cut at least on the outside. It's going to do a little decorative stitch on top of the pocket, so it's up to you. I mean, I'm going to wait a little bit for the rest of the pocket to cut so that it's out of the hoop and can cut a little better. But I am going to cut the sides down on here because it's going to do a final stitch around. All right, it's going to do the final bean stitch on here. And then it's going to do a little decorative on the top of the pocket. All right, I'm going to go ahead and trim this, or I'm going to go ahead and cut it since it's in the way. So I'm going to do it one big cut and actually cut this pocket out. And we've done our outline for our bow, to do our applique for our bow. So there's our bow applique. So I'm going to cut this out and then I'll lay my yellow piece for the bow. A little spray to kind of keep it tacked a little. Press it down, and we're going to tack down our bow. Right. Okay, we have the tack for our bow, and I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to cut all around it. We need to cut this one out at this point because then it's going to do a nice little satin stitch around it. This blue is very, very sticky. Kind of a very sticky blue. I remember if this is this might be the promo versus the marine vinyl. I think this promo, it's a little bit sticky. So my scissors aren't going well. I didn't silicone my scissors on this one, or the new ones. All right. Oops, a little bit on this tip here. And we're going to put it back in. Now we've cut all around it. We'll put it back in, and it's going to do the same color in yellow, and it's going to do a satin stitch around that to make our bow look nice. Okay, and this is where you want to make sure, you can kind of see it, you really want to make sure you get close to the stitch line. I didn't get close enough, but just a little thing, just make sure that you get close enough to the stitch line. So I can try to trim some of that later when we get it out of the hoop. So our last part is adding our back piece, and the reason why I have these stitches that I did, like I said, was so that we can line this up right on top of those squares, and this will be a perfect lineup. And there is a top and bottom. So it lines up one way, and making sure that those squares are right where they need to be, top and bottom and side by side, and making sure they're straight up. And then I'm going to tack this down. So I'm going to use some tacky spray. I trimmed the top and bottom. You can wait if you want till the end to trim. It's up to you. I had a little excess on them. I went ahead and did it while we were waiting. So I'm going to tacky spray it back. There we go. I'm trying to think which way was the top and bottom, and I think it was this way. Nope, it was this way. There we go. So the top inside was the top of our cross. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of singe some of these threads that are all hanging here, just to keep them tucked in case something starts to fray. There's going to be a little bit of a, you know, kind of knotting the thread kind of thing is what this does for me, that I've noticed. So some of that down. And I'm going to line this up. And with the tacky spray, it's a little tough, but because it starts to stick, and then you're trying to maneuver it around a little bit. There we go. So it's tacked down. It's not going anywhere. It's lined up with the other squares that were on our placement line on it. You can tape it if you want to be more secure. With my tacky spray, it's pretty secure. It's not going to move. And the reason why we've used the soft part of our Velcro is because this part is going to be hitting the plate. We don't want it to get caught and stuff. So that's why I chose to use this part for our accessory parts and the jackets and the outfits. And then the rough loopy part is used on the bear. So I'm going to put it back in. This will be our final stitch. Make sure nothing has moved when we put it back in. Check underneath. And it'll be our final bean stitch around the jacket. All right, there's our little jacket. We're going to do the rest of our trimming on the pocket on there, and little trims wherever we need to get the other vinyls out or other pieces that we have that we need to trim. So that's our jacket. That's the front. Here's the back. And the back nobody's going to see, so it's up to you if you want to use the same color felt. I use the same as the bear color. And stop that. And our Velcros are in place, so it'll go right onto the bear. And our next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to do another hoop now, and we're going to do the hat and the accessory, which will be the little balloons, and how to make those. Be right back. All right, we're on the second part of our birthday outfit, and there's the two different versions. One with the satin stitch all around it, and then there's the one with just the bean stitch. We're going to do the bean stitch one today. And we're going to do the first part, which is going to be our backing piece prepared. Sorry about that. Backing piece prepared with our Velcro. So we'll go ahead and do that first. And the first thing will be is our placement lines. I have everything already in the in the machine, and with all my stops and all my color changes are all fixed and ready to go. Okay, I did the outline in black this time so you can see it on the stabilizer, so you can see what we're doing. So I've got my placement lines for my felt to go. I'm going to use a little bit of tacky spray, and I have one piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut the little tip off there. And then I have my one other piece that'll just barely fit inside that triangle, which is fine. I know that my actual piece will be a little bit smaller than that, so go ahead and do our tacky spray. There we go. And this part here isn't a huge deal. This is just going to be our backing, and it's only going to just do our Velcro piece. It's not going to do the outside line. So we have our felt in place, and the next thing it's going to do, but I'm going to skip that one. The next part it's going to do is the placement lines on our felt for the snaps, if you do the snap option. I'm going to forward that and go to the next step, which is going to be the placement lines for my actual little Velcro pieces. All right. So the next thing it's going to do, we have our little squares here, our little places, which is where we're going to put our Velcro in those squares. I'm going to go ahead and use a stick glue on this one because they're so small. I didn't want to tape them, so I'm just going to use, so I'm showing a little bit of stick glue on it. And this is the shorter one for the balloon. I'm just going to center it in there. And the stick glue, it pretty much sticks to the felt pretty well. So won't have to worry too much about using tape or anything like that. If you want to use tape, go ahead. If you don't have stick glue, that's fine. Just showing options of what we can do. There we go. And one more. That one in there. And our next step then is going to be the tack down of our Velcro pieces on our back. And then we'll be pulling this out and starting another hoop. Okay, we have finished our back pieces. We're going to go ahead and take this out of the hoop and prepare these pieces and set them aside ready for our next hooping. I will be right back. Okay, we're going to finish off our birthday outfit. We prepared our backing and now we're going to do the front part. This one here is with 1,000 stitch per minute machine is about an 8-minute stitch out. The longer part of this is actually cutting and preparing and putting our pieces in and stops and goes. So, but it's a pretty quick little outfit. If if you end up making a bunch for craft shows or something, it's a pretty quick stitch out. So this is still, the pattern is all one pattern. It's not two separate patterns to put in two separate times. We put it in one time and we just have our color stops, and once we did the backing, we're continuing with the same pattern in the machine, and the next step we're going to do is the placements for our balloons and the placement for our hat. I've actually did the placements in black for the balloons so that you can see, and it's also going to do a final stitch in black, but I'm going to try and use color so that we can see a little better. Here we go. Right, and now we're going to go ahead and start with our hat first. And it did our little placement also, so that when we're done on the back side, we know where to put the placement of our felt, right, so that the Velcro will match up. And my first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and lay my piece of red. We're going to do a red hat with a yellow or a gold ball on it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of tacky spray. And again, I think this was a scrap piece, and I think this is actually like the it's kind of see-through, so I think this was the flasher vinyl. And we're going to go ahead and set it down. And we'll go ahead and stitch out the tack down, and then we're going to have to cut as we go along. All right, I grab my good scissors. And we're going to use, I have my 4-inch curved embroidery scissors, which is what I use, and just really the best for me. I mean, you can use whatever you want. And this is where, since we're not, well, actually, this is not the, I'm lost for words. This is not our satin stitch one. So we can go ahead and leave this outside and do it later. If we want to do it by hand and then cut around with our felt, we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and just cut the top part out here with my circle where the little ball is going to be. I'm going to cut that part out, and I'm going to leave the rest for the end, and then just do a nice all around once I get my felt on there as well. So you can kind of see where the stitch line went around it. We have a little larger piece. So I just cut out the top part here so that I can do the little ball. But our next thing is going to be a bean stitch around here as well. Okay, we've done our tack down for our little gold ball on top of our hat. So I'm going to go ahead and tacky spray a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and put the piece there, and we'll tack it down. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to trim the one part of this just inside here. And then what I'm going to go ahead and do, since I've prepared my back piece, and check out some of the little stabilizer inside. And I'm going to go ahead and tacky spray this a little bit, prepare the inside. I'm going to, do my little lighter trip to get rid of some of those little edges. And turn over to the back side. I'm going to prepare again, get rid of some of these threads that are hanging out so they're not hanging outside as we cut. Okay, I'm going to line this up really good so that our Velcro is right on top of the Velcro. Square on top of square, stitch on top of stitch. There we go. And that's tacked down, or you can spray it, either way. And then this is where we're going to run our step for so I'd back it up, but it'll be right in your pattern. So after we add the two pieces, then we're going to go ahead and run then the bean stitch. I ran the bean stitch too early on that one. So I'm going to run the red bean stitch, and then we're going to do the little gold ball on top. And that'll both be in our triple, or I'm sorry, in our bean stitch. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is our balloons, and I'm going to cut this little piece off of here so it doesn't hit that part. There we go. And I'm going to tack my two pieces down on top. I'm going to use some tacky spray. And at this point, this is when we want to add our little piece of ribbon here. So we can either, at this, where am I going? We can use our stick glue if we want. Just put a little bit on there and tack it down. Stick glue and tack it down. And then I've tacky sprayed my vinyl pieces, which is going to go right over top of them. And I'm going to kind of switch these two up a little bit and do the different colors, more shaded on one than the other. So we'll do more on the yellow here for this one. Okay, so I've got these down, tacked down, or you can tape them. And the first thing that I'm going to do is stitch out, and it's going to tack these down. So the first step is to add our little pieces of ribbon or string or yarn, whatever we want to use for the bottom dangly parts on our balloons. Then we're going to add our vinyl on top. Then we're going to do our tack down. And on this one here, you will have the option of changing, having different colors for your balloons. I chose to use a rainbow variegated, so I'm just going to do the same color outline on them. But you can change the colors of your stitch thread colors at the time. And then same thing with this one. We'll prepare our back piece. I'm going to go ahead and move forward and tack down my other one as well. Right, I'm preparing my back felt piece. And I cinched my threads down, and we'll do the same thing for the back here. Just, oh, I forgot to cut that piece off. There's my mistake. Lesson learned, part of it. And there we go, cut that off. It wasn't totally stuck, so there we go. And I'm going to singe my threads here. Do that part. Almost done. And I'm going to go ahead and line up my Velcro pieces. I don't think it really matters. And there we go. Square on top of square, lines on top of lines. And I'm going to tape this one a little bit this time. There we go. And we're making sure the tape is stuck down, and then we've got our final bean stitch for these ones. There we go. And it's done in black for my final bean stitch. Perfect. All right. We are finished with our birthday outfit, and we're going to go ahead and cut everything out, take it out. We have our back pieces on very well, and we'll go to the cutting table to finish off our birthday or Welcome Bear sign birthday outfit. So we've got both pieces. Here we go, the outfit and our balloon and hat. I'll meet you at the cutting table. All right, we're back, and we're going to unhoop. I'm going to unhoop everything and pull the stabilizer off. Okay, so all the stabilizer is taken off, torn off, checked inside, making sure no little scragglies are left in there. And I'm going to go ahead and trim some of the threads and go ahead and singe them and get some of those taken off of there. And then I'm going to take my lighter and just singe a little bit. Be careful on the felt that it doesn't melt. Just going to get those little ends tucked in. Melt little ends of the thread there with the polyester type thread or a rayon. It kind of shrivels up a little bit and makes a little knot there. So kind of helps tie it off so it doesn't fray, undo. And you don't want to hold it too long on the felt, the acrylic felt, it will melt. All right, a little bit here. We did that, but I have a little thread there hanging. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors, simple. These ones I actually got from Amazon. There was like a set of 3 for like $6 for these for a set of 3. Been working great. I also use the simple plain 99-cent store scissors. These work great as well. These have a little more resistance to them when you cut. These ones are a little more easier in your hand when you cut. So I'm going to use them both and I'll show you the difference, that they work the same on both of them. So I'm going to leave about a 1/8. You can leave like a 1/4 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch all around our stitch line and cut it all around. There we go. There's the hat. Quick and easy. And I'll go ahead and cut out the rest. There we go. Scraps to the side. So I've got my 2 balloons, and then I left this one, so I'm going to show you, how we can curl it sideways, or, just a slight little bit to give it a curl, or you can leave it long. There we go. And then I've got this one as well I made the other way. Have our hat. So with our shirt, we need to still finish off the pocket. So I'm going to use my small 4-inch curved applique scissors, embroidery scissors. And I'm going to cut it right close enough. We're leaving just a little bit of an edge there by our bean stitch for his pockets. His pockets, her pockets, a boy or a girl, whichever one you make. And we're going to come straight across the top here of the pocket. Flying shirts. There we go. And this one we had cut out earlier just so that we have our edge. And our bow's done. Yay, there's his little jacket, the balloon, and the hat. This is the birthday suit for our Welcome Bear. And let's bring in our Welcome Bear. Here he is. Yay! Our Welcome Bear is finished. And then this is where we can change his outfits. So the balloons have the Velcro. Whoops, I can finish these off and shorten them down a little bit as well. I don't need that big of a piece of the Velcro, but up to you. There's just enough there that'll stick to the other Velcro piece. But I'm going to shorten them up to make them look nice and neat. There we go. My other pieces are all cut and trimmed. Perfect. So little Velcros are going to go. This is where my little accent pieces will go on top. Then I've got his little party hat and his shirt right over top. Perfect. Nothing's falling off. See? And there's my little Welcome Bear with his birthday suit on, and there'll be other outfits to come. You can always, like I said, change it on the Welcome Bear, or anything you want up there. It doesn't have to say welcome. You can always eliminate the welcome part and put something else, a family name, a person's name. We can put anything up there. And all his little outfits, they come off, change the outfit to something else, the next month or somebody else's event or something where you want it. And the hat will come off. There'll be a hat always available, and always a shirt available, and then the little accents as well. So, hope you enjoyed my video. If you enjoyed my video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. You'll get more notifications for some more awesome outfits and other great ideas and embroidery patterns that I have. And I hope you've enjoyed it and have a good time. If there's any comments you want to make, feel free. Any ideas of outfits you would like. I mean, I have a whole list that I've done. I've already got a bunch that are ready to go for sale. But if you have an idea, go ahead and put it down in the comments. Love to hear it. Love to see what you've come up with or what you think might be a good idea. So here's my Welcome Bear from badbobbin.com. Glad you enjoyed it. Thumbs up. Meet you at the cutting table.